It's become very apparent to me that the number one way that people are going to damage their bands, especially red and orange bands, is by doing lateral walks incorrectly. I want to take you through how to do lateral walks safely, effectively, and keep your bands from tearing. It's very simple. Where I think the problem begins is this. When people stand onto the band, they stand onto the band with a narrow base of support. Then their first movement is to go ahead and stretch out and get into their start position. You already maximize the stretch on the band in between your feet. So therefore, when you go to doing the lateral band walk, by crossing it over like I did, you're going to overstretch the band immediately. That's the first mistake they make. The second mistake they make now is because they've got that overstretch on it, they're going to drag their feet across the floor like so. As soon as you start dragging your feet across the floor, you're going to grind the band into the floor, tether it, and immediately tear it. Here's how you want to go ahead and teach your clients how to do lateral band walks. First of all, you put one foot into the band and you leave the band loose. Let it dangle down and take another step and put it into it. Now immediately I'm standing on the band, but in between the band, it's relatively loose. So I have not put any pre-stretch on the band before I start. I pull the band up and I lock it in and I put it onto my hips. Now, when I go ahead and walk, there's already some play in the system so that when I'm doing the lateral band walks, I'm not overstretching between my feet. That's the key. So this is the first way, especially if you're going to do what we call a single band lateral walk. Now let's talk about double band. Same thing. Lay it down loose, stand on it, leave it stay loose until you get your foot position, and then stand up. Now what you're going to do is you've got it doubled. Same thing. You don't want to go ahead, drag your feet, and secondly, you're going to lock your shoulders in, and you're going to do a lateral band walk. Notice I've got the loops hooked onto my hands, and I'm pushing against my feet, the band with the outside of my foot, and I'm not dragging my feet. I've been doing lateral band walks for years. I have yet to damage a band or tear a band doing it. I think the key is to teach it correctly in making sure that your clients and your customers are not grinding their foot through the floor by keeping it down, and secondly, making sure the stretch is equally dispersed through the band and not just maximized between your feet. The last mistake that I think people do is I think they just use too small a band. You know, it's okay to teach people using the orange band how to do the exercise, but ultimately they got to move up to a heavier band. Remember, the orange band is half the thickness of all the other bands. As a result, it's paper thin as compared to those, it's going to tear easier. People are going to look to maximize their effort. Therefore, they're going to want more stretch. Sometimes you kind of miss that as an instructor and you let them overstretch a smaller band, when in reality, they should probably be up into a bigger band. 3 reasons. Make sure the tension is light when you start the exercise and then stretch. Secondly, don't grind the foot through the floor. Make sure you're picking your feet up as you're moving it. Lastly, get people in the right size band, get them up into a red band, have them go single band if they need to for a while until they can double it up. But the fact is, you have to watch those orange bands because of their thinness. People are going to maximize the tension. They simply aren't designed to take on that much tension. I hope this has helped you out. Hope it protects your bands. Keep doing lateral walks because they're a great exercise to develop hip stability, but let's start doing them a little safer.